Let me get one thing out of the way right now. If you want the Hydroconquest, go for the rubber strap. It is a much better option. This bracelet is shit. Listen to this. If you would like to see more fun long-term independent watch reviews, click the subscribe button below. Also, don't forget to like, share and comment on this video because it really helps. And follow me on Instagram. This is my first and to this day only Swiss watch. I remember contemplating the purchase for almost a year. It was a hard pill to swallow. To spend over $1,300 on a single watch. But I did it anyway and couldn't be happier. Longines is a brand I became familiar with around the year 2018, I would say. That is when they really pushed their marketing hard in Thailand. But it wasn't the brand itself that drew me towards the watches. No, it was Simon Baker. This god of a man who exudes such elegance, peace and confidence, yet a hint of playfulness best represent Longines as a brand. Longines did an excellent job choosing him as a presenter. If you're not convinced, I highly suggest you go watch The Mentalist. You will understand why he fits the personality of this brand so perfectly. Fast forward to the year 2020, the year that will be recorded as the weirdest year in our modern history. Right before the fall of the civilization as we know it, I had acquired this watch. The feeling of spending that much money on something so completely unnecessary was exhilarating. As a watch collector, we all know that feeling and addicting it can be. The best way to describe that feeling is that there is this notch deep in your gut. If you share that feeling, comment it down below and let me know. Anyways, we all know it's downhill from there, so let's dive into this watch. This watch is hefty and it is completely brushed, which suits the purpose of this watch. The quality of the brushing on this watch is excellent. It is much finer than the one found on the Seiko Tuna I reviewed last time. If you haven't checked out that video, there is a link to it in the description down below. The only place in this watch that isn't brushed is on the crown and on the edge of the bezel. This adds just the right amount of sparkle from the case. One quirky and unique thing about this case design is the crown guard. It sticks out quite a bit from the case to protect the crown. It is shaped like the wing hourglass logo of Longines if you view it dead side down like this. The case back of this watch is entirely solid. It has a deep etching of the wing hourglass logo, but this time it is a much more stylized version of the actual logo itself. It is quite nice. It looks and feels much higher quality than the price point of this watch would suggest. The crown on this watch, while beautiful, is slightly troublesome to operate. When you pop out the crown to either wind the movement or set the time, your action is obstructed by the crown guard, which is quite sharp, and it can dig into your fingers and cause a little bit of discomfort. But that definitely shouldn't discourage you from choosing this watch. Let's move on to the dimension and the movement in this watch. The watch is 41mm across, excluding the crown guard. It is 11.9mm thick, 51mm lock to lock, and 21mm between the lock. The movement is an exclusive caliber made by ETA for Longines. It is called the L888. It is based on the 2829, but instead of having 28,800 vibrations per hour, it only has 25,200 vibrations per hour. This results in a higher power reserve of 65 hours instead of 42. The slower beat rate gives way to a much higher power reserve, and it is a welcome trade-off for me. In my opinion, Longines produced the best sunburst dial. It doesn't matter which light you're in, the sunburst does its job. In most cases, a sunburst dial will only shimmer when in direct light, but this one simply doesn't need that much light at all. The markers on the dial are applied, except for the 12, 6 and 9 plus the Longines logo. These seem to be applied but not in the traditional sense, where you seat them down and lock them from behind. Instead, these seems to be permanently applied to the dial. All the dial furniture is highly polished and shimmers in any light, creating an eye-catching dial overall. Moving on to the Lume. They shine a nice hue of blue but doesn't last that long. or glow as bright. However, it is completely usable in the dark and is simply good enough. The bezel insert is shiny ceramic and is a shade darker than the dial itself, giving the whole watch a sense of depth. The numerals and the hash mark on the bezel insert will remind you of a Rolex Submariner. The Lume pip at the 12 o'clock marker sits inside a triangle. Operating the bezel is satisfying. It is a 120 click bezel and it produces a loud and audible click at each and every of the 120 clicks. Remember what I said about the bracelet at the beginning of the video? That is the only letdown of this watch. I purchased this watch on a rubber strap because it just looks awesome. It is a great blend of elegance and sportiness. With the bracelet, it looks just like another dive watch with weird crown guard. But curiosity got the best of me and I bought the Longines bracelet at a steep discount. The strap rattles and the clasp are difficult to operate. The dive extension is cheap. Overall, it's quite a letdown. Comparing the clasp on the bracelet to the rubber strap, the difference is night and day. The clasp on the rubber strap feels sturdier and much better built. To wrap things up, I believe this is the best Swiss diver for the price. Especially now that Oris diver has moved up market, I don't see why you should skip this watch or at least shortlist it. It is pure class. The best blend of elegance and sportiness at an accessible price point. You can dress it up and down depending on your style. Stay tuned for my next video and don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video with your friends. Follow me on Instagram and see you next time. Peace.